Yeah, come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake. Happy Christmas.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 106 shopping days left until Christmas, and you know what that means. That means it's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies and TV shows all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I'll be your host for this evening. Here with me tonight, as always, are my co-hosts, Johnny Five, the human robot.
Present.
And accounted for. And Mr. Bradford is here as well. Brad.
Gifts. You see what I did there? Presents, gifts. It's Christmas podcast.
God. Okay. I stumbled right into the pun and it just hit me in the face. I'm like, what's going on?
It's hit you square in the face.
Speaking of hit you square in the face, friends, we are deep into Home for the Horrordays, our seasonal selection of Yuletide Christmas horror movies, because that is definitely a genre that exists in the world. And I'm so excited today to be here to talk about another piece of crap Christmas horror movie, because that's all we do on this podcast nowadays. 2017's Mercy Christmas is the topic of tonight's discussion, and this is going to be a wild one. So you know what? Just grip it and rip it.
When did this first air versus when was Get Out released? They're same year. What month?
I want to say Get Out was in March of 2017, and Mercy Christmas. I'm furiously Googling this.
I'm gonna guess it was a Christmas release movie, probably Sci-Fi Network.
November 28th, 2017. I can't tell that it was released on video. I think it went straight to VOD, on demand.
Yeah, it has a TVMA rating. It doesn't have an MPAA rating, so
okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Wikipedia just says it was released on demand on November 28th, 2017.
So it's possible that the makers of this saw Get Out and just immediately churned this out.
Started working on the screenplay the same night they got home from the theater. Got to turn this around.
I mean, it's entirely possible, because this has some major Get Out vibes, and I'm even still kind of gonna say only tangentially, because yeah, man, let's get into that.
This feels like somebody already had a script, then saw Get Out, and was like, well, now I know I'm doing the last third of my script.
Right.
Pretty much.
Can check.
Yes, sir. Does anybody else have a frosty brew to crack open tonight?
I do. I already cracked it when you said grip it and rip it.
Oh, we got it. Okay. Tonight, friends, tis the season for Sam Adams' Jack O Pumpkin Ale.
How's that treating you?
Well, that's a pumpkin ale, all right. I love the Oktoberfests, but the pumpkin flavored beers, it's just not my thing, man. Ugh.
I dipped back in after several years out. I got myself the Heavy Seas one. Yeah, it's all right. I gave it a shot. I don't know. Too cloyingly sweet. I don't know. I'm also just not a big amber person.
Fair, yeah. I mean, this is it right. So. This says it right in the can. Jacko's cinnamon and nutmeg aromas, and I'm like, yeah, this is 100% cinnamon and nutmeg, and that's not what I want in a beer, man.
I'll tell you another thing that another style I'm starting to get sick of, and now it's ubiquitous.
What's that?
And I never thought I'd say this in a million years. Hazy and juicy IPAs.
You had me and lost me at IPA, friend.
It's too much of a good thing. They're everywhere now.
Oh yeah.
And they're good, but kind of over it for a while. I'm gonna give it a rest for a while.
Your microbrew, is seriously lacking if you don't have at least 3 IPAs on the menu.
Well, that's it. I am drinking an IPA tonight, but it's not a hazy IPA or a juicy IPA.
What is it then?
I have got an Aslan. Beer drinking is not a crime. Double dry hopped, double IPA. And it is a good time. It's almost got like a wine sort of situation going on. Notes of grape. It's delicious.
Well, at least one of us is drinking good tonight. J-Man, what about you?
No, I'll just have a sugar packet or two.
Okay, fair enough. Oh God! So when we landed on this film, friends, I think my only criteria was like, dear Lord, please let it be shorter than 90 minutes. And in that much, this movie delivers.
It squeaks under.
It just squeaks by. We actually have a huge, I won't say huge, but a list of like 30 some films that are candidates for this year's Home for the Horrordays. And I'd say a good like 2/3 of them are 90 minutes and under. So everything's on the table is all I'm saying. But I could not explain to you the why or the how I landed on Mercy Christmas. It was just, well, it's on Tubi. That's a start. It's less than 90 minutes. That's also a start. It's apparently a horror comedy that people are comparing to Shaun of the Dead. So,
quote unquote. Oh God, get that movie's name out of your mouth. This is
happy 20th Shaun of the Dead. We're watching a substantially inferior product tonight.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I've got feelings about the labeling of this as a comedy.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
Okay. Well, let's start there. First impressions of Mercy Christmas.
Oops, I forgot to tell a joke.
Yeah.
To be clear, the accusation is not the jokes weren't funny. The accusation is you didn't write jokes. You didn't write comedic things in this movie.
My working theory for this is we're living in a post The Room society, and they made this movie the way that they did, not intending for it to be a comedy, but decided to throw comedy into the marketing mix so that in the event that it ends up being a complete stinker, they can say, oh, well, it's all part of the joke. The fact that it's a really bad movie is a joke. It's a comedy. Don't you get it? Just like The Room is a comedy.
Except the difference is in The Room, there are like unintentionally funny things. And this one,
well, that's what I'm saying,
right? Like there's no manufactured like memification of it. Like this, they didn't even try to do that.
Well, no, I'm just saying like it's a way of hedging your bets if your movie ends up being critically panned.
Oh,
you know? You can turn it around and try to be in on the joke.
You just throw a mint to do that on there.
Yeah, it's exactly. Ha, I'm the puppet master. You're all the puppets. I meant to do this all along. I made a bad movie on purpose. It's a comedy. So, because this movie has maybe I think there's one visual gag that like I smirked at, and that's about the extent of comedy in this movie.
And I could probably guess which visual gag it was too.
Which one?
Well, there is a very random Empire Strikes Back reference in the tail end of this movie that I'm not a fan of.
No, that it wasn't that. That reference went over my head too, apparently.
Well, let's just say one guy straps another guy to his back.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Minus his legs, and there you have it. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. The one visual gag that I kind of smirked at was, well, spoiler alert. Don't watch this movie. Who cares? Spoilers. They're cutting off a guy's buttocks.
Oh yeah.
And it's just two people having a conversation, and just one of them like gestures with the butt cheek in his hand, and I was like, okay, all right, you kind of okay. It's like I think that's this movie's closest attempt at comedy is like the utter banality of it to the family when all of this horror is going on, but it doesn't work. It doesn't land. And that's what they were trying to do, but it just doesn't work.
And that was even the moment in my notes where I wrote like, oh, maybe this will start getting funny, and then it just didn't.
No, it forgot to.
It forgot. It said, oh wait, there's a funny gag. We can't have that in our horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So who would like to set up the premise of Mercy Christmas for us?
All right, I'll do it.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Here, now
All right.
let me go first. Let me go first. I got it for you.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
you know the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? This is the Southern California electric turkey carving knife massacre.
Yeah. To add a little more detail to that, Michael Briskett is a guy who works
Hold
a
on.
9 to 5.
Hold on.
Oh,
Stop. What was his name,
Yes.
sir?
His name is Michael Briskett. Yes, we're doing this.
So, okay, 2 movies in a row where like we have to point out the characters' names and they're just like the most forced joke imaginable.
It's bad.
I hate it.
It's bad. Michael Briskett, he's the main character. He's like a middle-aged dude working a 9 to 5. Is lonely at Christmas all the time, and through a series of events gets invited to his boss's house for Christmas dinner. But it turns out the entire family are cannibals, and guess what? He is Christmas dinner. Dun dun dun. And he and 2 other victims are attempting to escape over the course of 2 days, essentially. There's a little bit more to it in that his boss also needs him to finish a report, so is keeping him alive and torturing him by shocking him with Christmas lights in order to have him make the report.
Yeah, nothing good for your fucking concentration at work, like a boss hanging over your goddamn shoulder like that.
Yeah, even without the lights, it's already torture. I
I want to say something. The actor who played the boss, Cole Gleason, I think is the name.
Yeah.
Cole Gleason is from like the William Atherton School of Acting, where it's just like, I'm just actually a bad person in real life. That's how I play bad characters.
Oh, did he do something?
Like when I look at him acting, it's just like, this isn't acting. He's just like this.
The acting is all a little bit on the nose, a little bit too on the nose, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and this is also like for half the cast, this is either like their first or their only feature. So take that for what you will.
Michael Briskett is naive and optimistic, but he's like plays it up as too naive and optimistic. The main villain's too villainous.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's the nihilistic bartender is a little too nihilistic. It's like, chill out. You're not 16. Tone it back. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so our 3 victims are Michael Briskett, who we've already gone over, and then a nihilistic bartender named Catherine, who doesn't like Christmas, and a scalper named Eddie, who gets his legs cut off and is very understandably upset and angry.
His sin is that he
so.
scalps tickets. Let's eat him alive.
Bit much. It's a bit much. And then we have the Robillard family. We have Andrew Robillard, who's one of the sons. He's Michael Briskett's boss.
Right, he's businessman.
Then we have Bart, who is sort of I guess you could call him the homebody of the family. He's a bit more granola.
If you had to guess at what his job is, what would you think his job might be? Based on
I would guess he's the guy at the DOT who goes and cleans up roadkill after it gets reported. I'm sorry, is that bad? That's really mean. But right? Or he's not a park ranger, but he's one of the guys who has he owns his own business doing tours in the nearby national park that are unauthorized, where maybe he'll let you kill a squirrel and eat it.
I was kind of thinking like,
right?
Yeah. He's kind of, this guy looks like the pizza chef at your local microbrew.
I can see that.
Boy. And
anyways,
yeah. So the dad of the family, Abe, is like the most stereotypical like 70-year-old dad you've ever seen. And I do just have to point out that like having a character named Bart and a character named Abe in the same family, like that's definitely a Simpsons reference, right?
It's got to be, I imagine.
It's got to be.
And then we have Cindy, who kind of half seduces Michael into joining her for Christmas. I guess seduce isn't the right word. Charms him into joining the Robillards for Christmas. And she is taking on a lot because guess what?
What's that?
For the first time in a very long time, we got a dead mom alert.
Hit that button. Oh man, I've missed it.
So the matriarch of the Robillard family has recently passed. This is the first Christmas without her. Granny's still kicking it.
Right.
But Mama Robillard, who used to handle all of the fine home cooking, she's passed. So it is up to Cindy to prepare all of the arms and legs and offal and other human remains for this lovely family.
Now, my first question, and you know I have to ask it, do you think they ate her?
Ooh. I would say no, because these people are freaky, but I don't think they would do that. The other question that I have, did they only eat people around Christmas, or do they eat people year round? Because they make a big deal of how it's like their Christmas tradition, and they have a giant sign that says Merry Christmas in their basement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if killing and eating people is only a Yuletide activity for them, or if it's a year-round situation. Because if it's a year-round situation, I could see them running out of possible victims and getting sloppy and getting caught. But if you do it as a treat once a year, maybe.
You know, I'm given to like agreeing with that because they make a big deal out of it in this movie about like how important family traditions at Christmas are. And how Michael Briskett never got to have the traditional family Christmas, and he comes to this family's house hoping to have that traditional Christmas, and then their traditions are, we eat people, and it's fucked up and ridiculous, and we don't really ever get a sense of why that's their tradition. That's just what they do, and If there's any one like truth that I will grant this movie, it's that like I don't know why a lot of families do the things they do at Christmas, but they do them. They still do them every year. It's just that's what they do. And it's
what you do.
That's what you do. And so to extrapolate that to like, okay, what about a family that eats people at Christmas? Okay, but when you're dealing with a movie like this, like I would kind of like to know why. Right?
They said they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Right. That's the only indication we get that this is like an old family tradition and that like they need to keep it alive. But they don't ever say why that is. Like I was kind of
We don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get a lore dump.
I needed a lore dump.
I'm not going to tell people how to do their cannibalism. But I do have to wonder, like, you're gonna eat 4 people for Christmas?
It's 4 a whole lot, damn people? Right? It's a lot. I had the exact same thought, because if you think unless they're like letting everything go, like most of it go to waste, that's a lot to eat over like 2 or 3 days.
Well, if they're gonna waste that much, then I'm glad they all died at the end of the movie.
Yeah. We have 2 more characters to talk about. We have Philip, who is, I guess, a friend of the family, you could say, except literally everybody hates his guts.
Except the dad. The dad likes him.
Except the dad. And he's in on the secret, but gets murked halfway through the movie because everybody's so annoyed at him. He's an assistant professor. I believe the dad is mentioned at one point to be a professor.
Yes.
And he is an intellectual and is always quoting what?
Emerson and Oscar Wilde
Ford.
And Tennyson.
He's quoting famous people from history, and gets on everybody's nerves to the point where Cindy up and kills him. Cindy's his ex, and he spends most of the movie trying to make that rekindle that flame.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets killed.
Which, like, that's
rips to Philip.
That's one small thing that I'll grant this film is, like, it takes the trope of, like, you come home for the family Christmas and you see it in the movies where, like, oh, the ex-boyfriend is just there for some reason trying to get back into what's her name's pants, and everybody's uncomfortable with the situation, right? Like, that's a trope in, like, a ton of Christmas comedies. And here they just, like, Cindy seethes with absolute hatred at this weird little man.
And he gets prepped to be eaten, but I believe he is never consumed.
No, I think he's the one.
Family gathering.
He's the one whose ass they cut off.
Yeah, but they never get around to making the pudding because it's dessert. They all get killed before they.
Oh, you're right. It. You're right. That's true. Okay, so it was for nothing.
Yeah. And then we have, just like this entire movie, it's all for nothing. Then we have Denise, who is Bart's girlfriend and fiance, who there's a bunch of tension because Andrew doesn't think she can be trusted because she's a police dispatcher, but she's totally down to clown.
Ooh, let's introduce a little bit of tension for half a second and then rip it away.
Yeah, I mean, if this were a better movie, they would play up the whole, like, false hope angle where, Michael tries to, like, get her alone and convince her to, sort of play to her morals and get her to narc on the family. Yeah. But that doesn't even happen.
Or, like, I was even waiting for her to be, like, a mole with the police where, like, oh, they've been tracking this family for years or something.
Yeah, that I had that thought, too. But that didn't happen either.
Nope. And it almost to the point where I'm thinking, like, they had to have thought of these things and just cast them all aside, right? Like, every possible twist you could have taken with this film, they just said, nah, let's not do any of that.
Nah, we're gonna play it straight instead. In fact, they play it too straight, which is my complaint with this movie, because it's not funny at all, and it's not scary at all either. It's just kind of mean-spirited and dire, right?
It's just angry and gross, yes.
Yeah, there we go. Angry and gross.
It's angry and gross, and it doesn't even have the benefit of being spooky and or scary.
No, not
like
for
even for
a minute.
Not for a second is it any of those things.
Like
I could give it a pass if it was spooky and or scary.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I'm trying to find little things to give the movie credit for, and I realize I'm grasping at straws. Right?
This feels really... like the set was just someone's house, like one of the writer or the director's house.
Oh yeah.
And I guess I have to fault it a little bit for that, because it's not a big enough set for this. It needs to be an old spooky, like, country house. Like, it needs to be more like Get Out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could have been set in, like, the Knives Out mansion or something, and it would have been great.
There's a lot of lost potential in this movie, because if they had played it differently, this could be a halfway decent movie, but it's not. It's not scary. It's certainly not funny. It's just no fun to. It's like there's nothing here. It's not fun to watch, right?
You see, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Why do they keep remaking good movies? They need to start remaking bad movies. Like there's a 1,000,001 like direct to video pieces of crap out there. Somebody can scoop those up and like actually produce something quality out of it. I'm not saying that they should just give this guy a bunch of money to take his movie off his hands, but like. You could make we could all see it. We can make something out of this movie. It's possible.
Yeah, you've basically said, what if Get Out was also Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but also Christmas? And it's just there have been worse ideas that have been made into good movies. So
yeah, that's the elevator pitch right there.
Well, while we're talking about improvements,
okay,
why is this movie called Mercy Christmas? Can somebody answer that for me?
I think maybe because it's the one Christmas pun that nobody's made yet. And now that they've made it, we can't use it for anything else.
All right. Well, I was in the shower. I was thinking of better names for this movie, and I'm sure they haven't been used for a movie. All right. Off the top, already 100% better. Season's Eatings. Come on.
Oh yeah. Hang on.
Like, where's my document? Hold on. Like, but the thing is, Mercy Christmas doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, okay, please have mercy on Christmas.
Right.
But it doesn't evoke anything at all. Plain and simple. Here's number 2, Cannibal Christmas, right?
Right.
They're already spoiling the twist in the trailer, so you may as well just call your movie Cannibal Christmas.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. You're going to give us those titles. I'm going to put them into Letterboxd and see if they already exist, okay?
Guess
All right,
who's coming for dinner?
Yeah, that was going to be one of them. That's like number 4.
Okay.
The last one is just Christmas Dinner. Like, already, sure, but Mercy Christmas doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
So, but at least Christmas Dinner is evocative of the theme, even if it's generic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, you want to put those in a letterbox?
Okay, so hit me with that first one again.
Season's Eatings.
Season's Eatings. Okay, not bad. I like it. There's no such film called Season's Eatings, so that's available. They could have done that.
Come on. Cannibal Christmas.
Cannibal Christmas. No, sir.
Okay, Christmas Dinner.
Christmas Dinner. Yeah, there's a couple of Christmas dinners.
Okay.
So yeah.
Guess who's coming to Christmas? Like, there's a bunch of different riffs you could do on this one. I didn't actually write that one down, but I thought about it. Or like,
there is a movie from 2019 called Grayson Family Christmas. Alternate title: Guess Who's Coming to Christmas Dinner?
Okay. Just like Michael roasting on an open fire. Like, that's, like, there's a million better titles you could come up with for this movie,
right?
I feel, but Season's Eatings is my number 1 choice. Come on,
I mean, come on.
It's
the name's already in the movie. Christmas Brisket.
Christmas Brisket.
Come on,
there you go. But Mercy Christmas. I know the production company is called like Mercy Films,
right,
and I assume it was formed to make this movie.
Right, probably so.
You certainly don't name your movie after your production company.
No, you typically don't.
Unless, yeah. It's usually the other way around. But Mercy Christmas, like, I get it's supposed to be a really ham-fisted pun off of Merry Christmas, but I don't know, man.
I mean, if they had, I don't know. I don't even want to like twist it and tie it up into something else, because like I was about to say, if his name was Percy Brisket, we could call it Percy Christmas, but even then that's like nothing.
Still doesn't make any sense.
It's still nothing. You're right. I mean, the problems start at the title and they don't stop.
Here's one of the bigger problems for me is also, like, you went with brisket, like, of all the like meat dishes you could think of, you picked the one that is like incredibly traditionally Jewish for your Christmas movie.
That is also a very valid point. I did not consider. Maybe
also consider this: brisket is absolutely delicious.
Right? Why wouldn't you want to eat it at Christmas?
Wellington would have been a great name for this guy.
Michael Wellington. Damn.
And it would be more like organic too. Like, it would actually be a last name and be like a little bit clever, right?
Yeah, because nobody is named Brisket.
Nobody's named Brisket, but there are people named Wellington because it's named after a dude.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the kid in the airport movie, he's named Wellington.
That guy in that other podcast, he's named Wellington.
I had beef Wellington for Christmas dinner a couple of years ago. A++ would recommend as a Christmas dinner.
That does sound lovely.
Apparently, they do it a lot more in the Isles.
Yeah, that's
in the UK. And
not so much an Eastern Seaboard thing.
Yeah, I know, but
well, since we have. Oh, no, I don't want to finish talking about this yet because we have to talk about the dramatic conclusion to this movie, you guys.
Well, first we have to talk about how they don't know how to cook.
No, they just dump shit straight into the pot.
My biggest note is a misconception. When they're talking about cooking a human leg, they say, oh, You start it hot to sear it, and then you cook it low and slow. Incorrect. That's the wrong way to cook a piece of meat. You'll dry out the roast starting hot and finishing low and slow. Locking in juices is a myth. This has been tested by a recipe developer who I closely follow named Kenji Lopez Alt. He has a fantastic book out called The Food Lab. Highly recommend it. No, you want to bring proteins to a safe internal temperature first. So you would probably cook human meat similar to a pork. That would probably be a safe level that you would want to get to. And then once the roast is fully cooked throughout, then you want to sear the outside to get that crisp right at the end.
Mm.
Yeah, I think this family's cooking skill is more on the level of like hot human water.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's got a smack of human to it.
It smacks of human.
You know, speaking of Seasons Eatings, I know there is in fact a podcast about Christmas food called Seasons Eatings, and we really should have just called Glenn to talk about this with us.
We probably should have collabed with them on this one. Sorry.
Though I also would not have wanted to subject another podcast to this awful movie. So, you know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But I'm glad we have like a Christmas creeps like culinary expert on our hands to tell us these things. I do appreciate that, Bradford.
I'm not an expert. I just play one on TV. But speaking of timing, the pacing in this movie is atrocious.
This could have easily been a like 20-30 minute segment in an anthology movie and not really lost anything.
Oh, God, yes. Nothing happens for a good, hour of this movie? We have the setup, which is probably maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they belabor the point for what? And, 45 minutes. We don't even get, it's all building up. And they spoil it in the trailers, and you're expecting it. It's, it's going to be the fun revenge kills after the victims have been tortured for so long. It is 16 minutes remaining, including the credits, in this movie when all of the fun and fancy-free revenge starts.
Yeah, and it's about 19 minutes in until they drug Michael, and then the game's up.
Yeah,
and right away they're like, "Oh, guess what? We are going to eat you." And then at that point, there's no more reveals to be had.
Yeah. If they had done it up more with the dispatcher, and the internal tensions in the family, maybe they could have gotten a little bit more mileage out of it. But they don't make good use of those twists.
See,
and it just ends up being very one note. It's like, oh God, they've come and taken another person and they're eating them. Oh no. You know?
I mean, just insert the clip from Troll 2 here.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
If this was in if this was in the Knives Out mansion, you could actually have a bigger family too and have more of a dynamic there, because also this is a really small family for the cannibal clan.
Yeah, this is 6 people?
Yeah.
6 people eating 4 people? Come on.
Yeah, there's a plot point where they go off to church where it's supposed to be their first big opportunity to break out. Absolutely nothing happens with that. Just the 3 characters talking to one another, and then they hear that they're back from church.
I get the idea that Michael's not a hero, but he spends so much of this movie whimpering that it's just, okay, I get it, dude.
Yeah, you want to give him that moment where he has to rise to the occasion, but give him too much, rope to, I guess, hang himself with, and you don't want to see him save himself.
No, it's too little, too late during his revenge scene where he's yelling about not being sorry. It's okay, well, you should have been here quite a bit sooner, my dude.
Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. But no, you're right. They go to church, and then the 3 victims in the basement argue with each other for I guess an hour's worth of church time over what to do next, and nobody does anything.
Yeah.
And considering they're all tied up in the basement with just plain old, twine rope or whatever, and they're all sitting around all these like sharp metal objects. Don't tell me you couldn't have cut through that shit yourself.
It's ridiculous too, because they're ostensibly down there for hours, maybe even days.
Yeah.
And then eventually Eddie manages to cut through his rope with a broken Christmas ornament. It's like, you didn't think about that in the first 45 minutes, my guy.
Yeah, and also it's like, okay, she's chained to like a car tire rim or something. He's like roped to the ceiling at one point. Michael is just sitting there. They got Christmas lights wrapped around him, but his hand is free so he can write. He's just sitting there. There's knives and shit in the other room.
He is not tied to anything in this room. He's just kneeling the entire time.
And his one and only excuse that he gives late in the film is, I just really need this job. Nobody needs a job this badly, my dude.
Yeah.
Not
It's
not on your life.
No.
I'm going to give everybody some job interview advice. You can just fucking lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can just lie to whoever you're interviewing. Get whatever fucking job you want.
Everybody does it. Oh, here's a really cool job interview pro tip, or job seeking pro tip that I heard recently.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear this?
Hit me.
And this is for all you listeners out there. So when you write your resume or your CV, right? You know how most of the time there's bullshit programs that like scan it for keywords?
Yeah.
Just put like a complete word salad of good keywords in white text off to the side in the margins. And it will pick, like, a scanner will pick up those words, and they will never, unless people hunt for it, it will never show up to a person. And I bet you 8 times out of 10, if the recruiter comes across that, they will appreciate the hustle. Like,
so you really have no
mind.
excuse not to, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was a joke from like a TV show or something, or just something actually happens, or just a stupid thing, but I just heard someone say a joke about like, oh yeah, no, I just throw half the resumes away immediately because I don't want to hire somebody who's unlucky.
Jesus.
It sounds about right.
That reminds me of when I was in high school and I applied to like every Blockbuster Video in town on their little like computer kiosks that they all had. I went to every Blockbuster individually and did this. And then after I did all of that, somebody informed me that, oh yeah, they all go to one central system. And if you put one in multiple times, they just kick you out completely.
So like even your original one, they don't even delete the duplicates. They
just kick you out because apparently you're trying to spam the system. So fuck you. So fuck you for trying.
That seems a little bit backwards.
Nobody wants to work
somebody
anymore.
Who's filling out multiple ones is showing initiative.
Right.
I don't know.
That's what I was told.
High.
So yeah.
That's like, you dumb motherfuckers. I'm trying to perform labor for you.
Yeah, exactly. I want to work. No, you don't. Okay. So, can we talk about the big finale Christmas fight?
Yeah, we should.
We should, because I want to end this. The guys, and when I say guys, I mean Michael and Eddie, decide to finally like break free. Michael wraps Eddie's body, straps Eddie to his back using Christmas lights.
Oh, we should preface this. I don't think we ever fully got into it. Eddie gets his legs cut off for Christmas Eve dinner.
Yes.
And then they cauterize his legs with an iron.
With a hot iron.
So he's essentially a double amputee at this point from the knees down.
Which is really insulting because they cut off both legs. They only ate one of them.
Yeah. It's very wasteful.
It's wasteful fucking family.
Because I would have loved to have seen a one-legged man in this ass-kicking contest. See, even that's a joke they could have done, and they just didn't. God damn it, I'm mad at this movie now.
I think we'll get into it with the crankometer,
yeah.
But I think this is almost more egregious than Ice-tastrophe just for the wasted potential. Anyways, continue.
So yeah, Michael straps legless Eddie to his back, looking a whole lot like Chewbacca and C-3PO in Empire Strikes Back. And I hate that I'm making that reference, but there it is. They escape the house, make their way into Denise's car, where Denise is sitting and she's on the phone. And I have to also stop here and say Denise's ringtone is Ed's ringtone from Shaun of the Dead. Like, exactly. And I hate that I recognized it.
And somebody put it in as a fun Easter egg. And please don't reference a good movie in your bad movie because it will just remind people of a good movie.
I've said it before. I'm not the first to say it either. There's another original thought of mine, but it's like I can just go watch Star Wars. You don't got to remind me that I can go do that.
I mean, also for the movie's credit, I'll say this: it is a very funny image seeing Michael drag Eddie around on his back in Christmas lights. However, they bash Denise's face in with the iron because she's all in with the family at this point. And then they go back into the house to rescue Catherine because they could have just escaped, but no, they need to do the right thing and rescue Catherine. And a big bare knuckle brawl breaks out where everybody fights everybody.
Granny gets ganked at the doorway, and Abe gets killed pretty much right out where Michael has his big turn where he's not sorry anymore.
Right.
Finally.
And
If someone tries to eat you and you kill them, I won't judge you for that. That goes for anybody out there. If someone tries to eat you and you kill them, hey, you do what you got to do, man.
That is legitimate self-defense. This is not castle doctrine stuff here. This is nobody would fault you.
Right. And like castle doctrine even goes out the door when you're the one trying to eat somebody in your own home.
Correct.
But they drag out Catherine because the other two are gone. And now Catherine's up and she's fighting Cindy because the two women have to fight each other. In the kitchen, no less.
In their skivvies because movie.
Yeah, I don't know why or how Cindy lost her shirt, but she did. And I think it's just so that Catherine can grab one of her boobs and twist it really hard. Sure, why not? Bart stabs Eddie in the back with a meat cleaver, which is terrible. Catherine stabs Bart in the chest with the butcher knife, which is less terrible. And then Michael electrocutes the fuck out of Andy with his Christmas lights and sets his face on fire with spiked eggnog. God bless us, everyone.
So I looked this up. Alcohol has to be at least 100 proof in order to ignite at room temperature. That's got to be some really spiked eggnog, my friend. I
mean, to choke down some person meat, I guess you have to. You have to be real. You just get rip shit drunk to do that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Correct. Movie.
Movie.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, like Andy dies. Like he dies mad. That's the best way I can put it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, Michael and Catherine drag themselves outside to be greeted by Christmas carolers, and Michael just begs them to call 911. Movie over.
And then for absolutely no reason, there's a mid-credit scene of Eddie like looking at the camera, like blinking, looking at the camera.
Because he's just in case you were wondering if your favorite character was still alive, yes, he is. Eddie is still alive.
Which is good, but it's just like how and why is this a mid-credit scene? What is this for?
Because you have to.
Unless they're gonna make a Mercy Christmas 2 where Eddie shows up like looking like Cotton fucking Hill with like legs on his knee or feet on his knees. I don't know what they're doing. And now that I put that idea out into the world, it's definitely gonna happen, and I'm sorry.
He's only killed 5 men. This is it's a paltry amount.
Well, he's got plenty of room for the sequel. He can kill 45 more. I don't know, friends. Should we take this to the crankometer? Because I feel like we're all getting very rowdy and unsettled over this awful movie.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. The crankometer, friends, is our patented XY axis for rating Christmas movies. The X axis is how Christmassy a film is, and the Y axis is how good a film is. So, gentle friends, Mercy Christmas, how Christmassy is it?
Kinda. Right?
Kinda.
Pretty Christmassy, like
it goes into traditions and all that.
Yeah.
Kind of
and it especially gets into the important message of, sometimes you just have to say fuck Christmas traditions because they're not worth it.
Because they're messed up.
Yeah.
And archaic.
And I'm okay with that.
You don't want to eat a man.
No.
No.
And we're going to give it positive points for that alone.
I think.
What if the family and son-in-law was cannibals?
I mean, they would have eaten Pauly Shore in about 5 minutes because they just needed to get rid of the guy. That's what I
Better
think.
movie or
Oh, if this was Son-in-Law with Cannibals, it would be a better movie because Pauly Shore's in it. If that's
Like
what you're saying.
A positive 1 on Christmasity,
I'm at least a 1.
maybe a 2. Like
The 2 maybe for the I guess clever use of Christmas lights.
I wouldn't call it clever, but it's fine.
I kind of want to dock it a little bit for using Carol of the Bells as the starting song.
Okay, why?
Okay.
It feels overdone.
Too easy.
Overplayed. Yeah.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
that. That's fair.
I think a 1 is fair. It's being generous, honest.
It's not misusing any of the Christmas stuff. It's everything else about the film we have the problem with.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. This is a big mismatch between the X and the Y axis, I feel.
I hard agree because like there is a way you could make this work, and like I mean you could make this work without any of the Christmas stuff. Like this could be a Thanksgiving film. This could just be a family barbecue kind of film. You know, it doesn't have to be Christmas. But they make decent use of it, and there's the important conversation of why Christmas traditions matter, and I'll give them a point for that.
Okay.
Sure.
Like a 1 or a 2. What are we thinking?
Let's say a 1. Let's be generous with ourselves and say a 1.
Okay.
And now the y-axis, which means how good the film is, and oh boy, I think the big takeaway here is that there's just a ton of missed opportunities.
It's not any fun to watch at all, either from a horror movie perspective, and certainly not a comedy movie perspective. And then the missed potential, I feel, drags this down. I feel like this is also a -4, along with Ice Catastrophe. And don't get me wrong, it's competently shot, and it's not like there's no cheeseball effects like an Ice Catastrophe, and it's so much squandered. Much of the human wasted, right?
It's a. I don't want to be too nice or too mean to the movie on this regard. For what it is, a super low budget, like, horror movie, it's decently enough put together. It's just they didn't do much with it.
No.
Yeah.
They kind of foamed it in a little bit, right? With this premise, you could do so much better. You could do so much more.
Right.
And they just didn't. They played it straight the entire way through, much to it's much poorer for it as a result.
And that's partly why I picked the movie too, because the premise is at least an intriguing one, and I wanted to see how they would handle it. And then the downfall of the movie is just all in the handling, because like you said, there's so much missed opportunity. There's so much, like, there's good craft going on here. Like the gore effects are pretty good. The butchery scenes are actually like disturbingly good. And
yeah, like the only really awful like VFX there was when Andy's head was on fire. It looked a little silly.
Yeah,
right. But
other than that, everything was pretty gnarly, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, straight down the middle, like a decent kind of horror execution. It's just there are so many other ways they could have played this material, and like it's all obvious like when you watch the movie, and it's just like it makes me wish I was watching a different version of this movie.
I wanted it to be either a lot creepier or a lot funnier, right?
Yes.
And if they'd gone in either direction, I think it would have been better.
What if it ended with an evil Santa shows up and kills them all for being naughty?
Right? Like, make it real. If you made it incredibly even more stupid, great.
Hang on.
Or if they had played it even like more horror and made it actually kind of creepy and weird, and it would have been better. But they just didn't.
Like, it's kind of proof positive how like you can't just split the difference between horror and comedy and come out the other side with a good product. You have to commit to one of them at least a little bit.
Right.
You know,
you can mix the two, but you have to decide. You have to fall to a side, right?
Exactly. It has to be a horror movie with a few good jokes in it, or it has to be a comedy that's actually kind of spooky. You can't Just
Right.
Yeah, like Shaun of the Dead was a comedy movie with some really disturbing horror elements in it.
right. Exactly. There are
And a lot of horror has strangely funny elements to them here and there.
A Nightmare on Elm Street is a great horror movie with some really funny parts to it. Yeah, so there are ways to make this premise and this story work, but you have to commit to one or the other, is all we're saying. And the fact that this one tries to play both ends against the middle kind of ruins the whole thing. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Let's call this a -4.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't hate my time with it, but it's just the missed opportunities just stack up.
Yeah. You overcooked the roast and you ruined it. Locking in the juices is a myth.
Oh, boy. And one last thing I want to say before we end with this is that it brings up an idea near the end of the film that I thought would have been a great thing to explore, where Michael and Eddie make it outside the house and they're trying to figure out which house to go to ask for help. And one of them says, what if they're all like this? What if they're all cannibals?
It's a really weird thought experiment. It doesn't totally miss the mark, because if you've been locked up in a basement for 2 days awaiting being eaten, your mind is probably going to very paranoid places.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give them that one.
And also,
It's
just in general, I'm a bit generalizing here, but like, suburbia mind loves to ignore shit that doesn't make any sense.
That is
So it's like you'd absolutely have people just pretend they don't fucking hear them banging on the door.
That is also true. Yeah. I mean, take it from me, a guy who ignored the door when a package showed up this morning. Like, yeah, it happens. I hate to say it, but it does. You're right.
See, and if they had done that sort of thing instead of just talking about it, added 2 minutes to this movie where they go around knocking on doors and everybody's just ignoring them, it would have added a little bit of gravitas to this whole procession. But
right, like they're being ignored left and right and turned away left and right, so they have to go back to the house because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, like if they go to the neighbor's house and the neighbors, while the neighbors aren't cannibals themselves, the neighbors know that the family's cannibals, and they're just like, well, we just pretend we don't see it because it's easier that way.
Yeah, that's self-preservation right there.
It'd be at least something interesting with this movie,
right?
But we don't get that.
These fucking Easter Christmas cannibals.
Like, you eat humans twice a year or not at all. Man, this whole thing just kind of bummed me out, because like I was really going into this hoping for something fun, and it's just missed opportunities all the way down. I'm sorry, guys.
And also, again, like Catastrophe, for no fucking reason, this movie starts with like 15 seconds of like the middle of the movie and then cuts back to the beginning again.
Yeah.
It doesn't do a fucking like 18 hours earlier card, at least. I'll give it that much credit, but that's not much.
Right. Well, I mean, it does. It does the 2 days earlier card.
Oh, it does. I fucking missed that. Good Lord.
Yeah, it does.
It pulls the same move.
It immediately opens on a guy screaming for help in a bloodstained basement, it's Michael, and then it cuts to 2 days earlier, and he's at his office Christmas party. Yeah, and it takes about the same amount of time to get back to that situation as it did in Catastrophe. Guys, I'm starting to think Home for the Horrordays was a mistake.
We can turn it around.
We have plenty of time to turn it around. I mean, as we release this, it's early September. We've got plenty of time ahead of us to actually.
You need to bring the spooks. Come on. Give us a blood beat. Give us a silent partner. Come on now. I don't think Silent Partner was part of Home for the Horrordays, but point stands. That's a great movie.
It really was. I mean, we could just go ahead and watch Rare Exports like we've been talking about for 10 fucking years.
Finally do it.
Every Halloween, we're like, maybe we should do Rare Exports. Every other Christmas podcast has done Rare Exports but us. And I think people are just expecting us to just never do it.
It's a point of pride at this point, right?
I've seen it already.
We're being obstinate on purpose now.
How many episodes did it take us to do Elf? Was that the 100th?
That was the 100th, yeah.
That was our 100th episode.
What number are we on right now?
160.
So when we hit 200 in like 4 years, yeah, maybe we'll watch Rare Exports.
You know what? You got yourself a deal. Rare Exports in 2028. You heard it here first.
When it's 75 degrees in November, we're gonna do Rare Exports, everybody.
The rarest export of all is cold weather. All right, so that's our crankometer, friends, for Mercy Christmas. I think we landed on a +1, -4.
Sounds about right. Let's go play video games.
Yowza! Let's go play some video games. You guys,
real entertainment.
You guys playing anything good lately?
I'm almost done with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, finally.
Oh boy.
It's a good time. It's a good crew. I've been having some good times with them. And then just playing more Tetris. Very excited about Tetris Forever. Don't know if you guys heard about that.
I heard a little bit, yeah.
So Digital Eclipse, who does the Gold Master series, it's basically, have you guys played any of the Gold Master series? So Atari 50, Making of Karateka, and Jeff Minter story?
No.
You played any of those?
I'm not familiar, no.
I can't recommend them enough if you're interested in video game history. What they are is essentially interactive coffee table books.
Oh, okay.
So it's full of like documentation and interviews and then playable games mixed throughout.
Neat.
All of them are excellent. I think Atari 50 is the best out of the ones that have come out so far.
Okay.
It goes into like the full history of Atari. It's really great. Couldn't recommend it enough. But they're doing that treatment for Tetris.
Ooh.
So it's got like more than 15 playable versions of Tetris. So like the Electronica 80 version of it is definitely in, and then all of these other versions, and then all sorts of like interviews and artifacts and things like that. As a big Tetris fan, I'm very, very excited about that.
Nice.
Anyway.
J-Man, what about you?
Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga was free on like PlayStation Plus, and that is like a 30-pound bag of fucking candy, and I'm having a blast.
I downloaded that too, and I'm waiting for the right moment to dig into that.
I've heard really good things, and I've been tempted to dip into it.
It is absolute fucking junk food, and I'm here for every second of it.
Nice.
Those original Lego Star Wars games were legit, and I played them and I loved them, and then I think I just grew out of it. But I'm also at the age now where I'll play a Lego game. I don't care.
This is different enough as well. Like it has a lot more modern game conventions to it.
Oh, okay.
Souls-like elements. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, exactly. Persistent online multiplayer. There's like player housing.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a joke, Joseph.
I don't know any different.
There is a player house, but the player's Luke, and it's his uncle's house on Tatooine.
Come on, tell me that a Lego MMO where you can build your own house wouldn't sell 1 billion fucking copies. Okay,
They had one of those, didn't they?
Did they? I don't know.
They must have, right? All I'm saying is, like Lego Island, but multiplayer version. Did you guys ever play Lego Island on the PC?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it's a good time. That's a blast from the past.
Oh man.
Here, I swear there was a fucking Lego
MMO.
Yeah, it was Lego Universe.
Yeah, there was like one like kind of Minecraft-y one they did. Is that the one you're thinking about?
Lego Universe was from 2010 to 2012.
Oh, so predates.
And that was, it feels like it's an MMO ass MMO. Lego City Undercover was an interesting one. That was basically like Lego GTA.
Yeah, that was E10 plus GTA, which I had heard actually like pretty decent, but
Lego minifigures online was another MMO. What the fuck is going on with Lego minifigures? Right? By the way, why are they putting them in fucking boxes now? To make me not buy them, I guess.
Because they figured out that you can just like feel around for
them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel them up and figure out what you're getting. And
well,
just
people were already fucking cutting the bags open in the store anyway. I think people have no qualms about breaking the fucking boxes open.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
I think what I need to do is I need to go to like one of those places where you can get like I don't think the cops should have this, let alone civilians type shit, and get one of those like fiber optic like wire cameras that you can put through under doors and shit.
Well, they've been X-raying like trading card packs. You could probably do the same sort of like MRI on that kind of stuff too, but I don't think there's enough. I don't think enough people care, to be completely honest.
Well, I mean, I'd have to take the X-ray machine into the store, and they don't let you do that no more. They realized back in the 50s, I think, that X-ray machines in the stores were a bad idea.
No, you see, what you do is you buy up a bunch of the Lego minifig boxes, go to your local X-ray provider, I guess.
The hospital.
Yeah.
Doc, I got it real bad. I need to go into the MRI machine. I need to hold these 10 blind Lego boxes for reasons.
And then you just resell the ones that you don't want.
for $8.50. Like, the stakes are not very high here, right?
But it would be covered by your insurance plan, assuming you have insurance.
Do the minifigs have like an ultra rare version where like you get is there like a gold one that's like one in every 100? Or
there was.
They don't do that
in one of the series. I don't remember which one. One of the series did have literally had a rare all gold minifigure in it. I think maybe it came with like a cash prize if you got it.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that part, but there was a rare one though.
My experience with the Lego minifigure blind stuff is, my wife wanted Marie Antoinette with a Chihuahua from one of the sets, and she bought a single one and got Marie Antoinette with a Chihuahua. And then nice. I bought 4 Mario ones, and I got the exact same Toad lying on a beach for all 4 boxes.
Same story, but with the Disney minifigs. Like, I got the Mickey Mouse in Sorcerer's Apprentice like 3 times in the same purchase.
Yeah, like I bought mine from the Lego store. I was like, surely they can't give me the same thing if I buy 2 of these packages. Nope.
Of course they will.
Exactly the same.
Of course they will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I just can't anymore. Like, I have complete sets of some of the lines, like 12, 13, 14, like that series about then. But like, I can't. It's too fucking expensive for what it is. Who the fuck am I going to trade with?
Right.
Like, I mean, I know the answer is go on Bricklink, but like, I don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Brickmas Creeps, everybody. We're gonna talk about our new favorite Lego sets now.
I can't justify any of the new Nintendo sets. I like the Deku Tree. I can't.
It's cool though. Like, I would love to do it. You're right. I can't justify spending that kind of money on that right now.
What is it, like $130?
Yeah. I just Lego, please make some cool shit that's like $40 or $30.
Right? That's not Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Please, I would kill for that.
Like they came out this recently with like the mini Millennium Falcon, which is great if you don't want to buy the gigantic like $1,000 Millennium Falcon set, and even that's still like $80. And
I mean, it's better.
It's better,
right?
but it's still $80.
Yeah, it's a tough sell. I don't know. All of the Nintendo sets have missed me so far since the N64 Mario 64 ? Block.
Yeah,
which was like a total lock for me.
Of course.
But Piranha Plant, Deku Tree, like, I can't justify spending that kind of money on something that's going to be out on out in our living room for 2 months and then put away in storage, right?
I mean, I'm sitting here looking at 2 mini Fast and Furious Lego cars right now. Your mileage may vary. I don't know, bud.
Welcome to Anyways,
Grumpy old Lego
that's
farts.
probably grumpy old Lego farts.
Oh my gosh.
We unlocked it. We unlocked a new kind of chat. Lego chat.
Lego chat, everybody. We're stomping on other podcasts now because I'm sure that's a podcast or something or other.
Like the Lord of the
I'm
Rings
sure it's
Barad-dûr,
like
$460. Can you just give me the 4 fucking hobbits for like $20? I'd like that.
Yeah, no shit, dog.
Just make blind boxes with Lord of the Rings characters, and you're in like Flynn.
No, because I
I'm
won't
sure
buy the
there's,
fucking
like-
blind boxes. I just want the hobbits.
There's like 30 Lego podcasts at least. I'm sure. I would bet my life on it.
Probably yes. Oh boy. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Christmas Creeps, folks. We have talked in circles about Mercy Christmas and all of the ways it disappointed us. So if you have any questions or comments, if you produced Mercy Christmas and would like to yell at us, you can email us at xmascreeps@gmail.com or find us on all the socials. We're at Christmas Creeps. Find us on YouTube, find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to get your podcast. That's where we'll be. We will have a link in our show notes to our Discord channel. That is where you can join us and join the conversation that is nonstop, because we talk about food stuff, we talk about TV stuff, we talk about nerdy stuff, books, everything in our Discord. So check that out. Do y'all have anything you would like to plug before the show is over?
Bring your meats up to proper temperature before searing the outside of them. Also, if you're going to salt them, if you're going to salt your meat, all right, this is important. Either do it 40 minutes before you start, or just salt it right before you cook it. Because anything else, you're pulling extra moisture out of the meat, and you're not giving it proper time to reabsorb. All right.
Very good. J-Man, how about you?
I'll totally take the Lego Eldorado Fortress. I'll bite the fucking nostalgia bait. Fuck that shit. Give me that shit.
Very good. So, oh man, for Christmas Creeps, I've been Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Creep it real, y'all.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas, you guys. Yeah.
I'm Michael Briskett.